This video is a continuation from the previous video. Okay, so the building blocks of a black and white photograph are texture, tonal contrast, shape, form, lighting. Okay? So when you're composing your black and white shots, some of your cameras will let you shoot in black and white, and I would recommend that you do that. Why not? I mean, I know people say, it's cheating, you should learn. Well, I don't think it is. So if you have the black and white setting, go ahead and do that. And then you're going to immediately see the results. But if you don't, just make sure that you're checking your texture, your tonal contrast, your shape, design based on your shapes and your forms, and make sure your lighting is good. And you'll need to know this to plan as well, right? Because you're going to take some black and white shots that look different after you've shot them. Now, if you can't automatically take black and white shots, you can convert them in Photoshop or Lightroom. And in Blackboard is the link to the free download for Lightroom. There is a free app that you can get for your phone for the abbreviated version of Lightroom, and it will let you convert to black and white in that app. So great shot because of the texture. Look at all that texture. If this were in color, you would have to blur out that background more because it would be too much texture. In black and white, you need all that texture. And he's so cute. I love the eye peeking out right there. He's so cute. This is great. The tread on the shoe. Great texture. Really nice texture here with the skin. It's a gorgeous photo. The texture here, this is driving through. Ooh, it's starting to make me feel dizzy looking at that. Ooh. The texture, obviously, and everywhere. Everything has texture on it. Elephant has a lot of texture. The background has a lot of texture. And again, if this wasn't black and white, some of that texture in the background would have to be muted because the color and the texture can be too much. But without the color, okay, so tonal contrast, right? So when you are shooting a black and white shot, you want this full range of tonal contrast as much as possible in most of your shots. Even if you want to stay here and create a subtle, you're still going to need some pop over here of this dark to complete that tonal contrast in your image and keep it from falling flat. Woman in a dress spinning around. I think it's a wedding dress. Very abstract. And then, photographs that are taken in color don't automatically work well in black and white because of the tonal contrast that we've discussed. The one in the upper photo, that the color really is a huge element in why that's a great photo. But when it's removed, it's the image is pretty flat. So you can't just automatically convert a shot to black and white. One of the nice things about doing it in Photoshop is it lets you make adjustments, right? You could lighten your yellows here and darken your blues, or vice versa, and get more tonal contrast in your shot. Right? So we have very, very strong tonal contrast here. So we've got the bright white and the dark black, and so we have that full range of contrast. Probably could have lit her face up a little bit more, but it's still a good shot. Oh, it's a great photo. Look at that. That's really good. That's a really well exposed black and white shot. Normally that's something, we would shoot in color, so it works really well in black and white. This is actually a series of photographs that are laid on top of each other, or a reflection. Looks like a reflection. It's beautiful. All that texture. The lighting is right. We got strong tonal contrast. Oh, I wish that wasn't so blurry. This is a series of photos of our grand staircase that are montaged together. That is like perfect exposure. Great texture, great tone, great contrast, great lighting. And abstracts, right? You can do that. Those are shadows on. I don't know what the shadows are on. It's very cool though. It's beautiful. It's different textures. Just makes an interesting photo. I would probably adjust the contrast a little bit more to get a little bit more white in here, but I can see why they didn't. They didn't want the white to compete with the black. Look at that. That's another nice thing that you can do with the black and white. It's really beautiful, where you can play with a light source. Like here, this is light. This to me looks like somebody is in a prison and the light source is shining on him. But you can do that. You can play with a light source to illuminate one thing, and that black and white really helps make that type of effect pop, because the color isn't a distraction. If these were colors, the color might be a distraction from what's going on with the lighting. Look at that. Yeah, see, that's another thing that the black and white really, really helps illuminate, because it's even part of the subject. You're illuminating your light in the darkness. And this is low key, but you still have that black in here that helps keep that tonal contrast wide. Yeah, how that light is coming in and silhouetting, but also highlighting, and tells a story, right? It's a very great way to tell a story. People aren't being distracted by the color. Shadows. It's a great photo. Got all that texture, and if this were color, that wall would probably be very bright, saturated color, and you wouldn't even notice the shadows running up the stairs. So in order to be able to notice those shadows, you have to get rid of the color. Great things to do with black and white photography. Definitely portraiture. It's kind of a gruesome looking shot. I'm sure she's in paint, but you know, when you don't, here's the thing about this shot, without knowing whether that's paint or mud or blood, I mean, it's a mystery as to what's going on. And that mystery makes for a good subject. Landscapes are really great for black and white photography. Architecture. That's a nice shot. You can do still lifes, right, where you set up a bunch of objects and you can manipulate the different objects in the scene to create an interesting photograph. A lot of street photography is taken black and white because the people are the important thing, and you have a lot of texture in street photography. So you often want to shoot black and white so that the focus can be on the people. The raw emotions of black and white photography. Wow, it's a powerful shot. That's beautiful. The diver swimming with the whales. Those are hard shots to capture where you've got something moving. That's a great shot. That's a really great shot. And I can assure you that they didn't just walk up and take one shot. I can promise you that. I love this. because of all that negative space, you are forced to go straight into the eyes and look. This is a black crested macaque. They are renowned worldwide for, I'm guessing they're seeing themselves, the reflection of themselves in the lens of the camera, and they're very friendly, so they want to come over and say hello, and they end up taking photos of themselves because they're very curious. What a great photo. This is a photographer who creates these very surreal black and white photos that are meant to thrive on raw emotion. Yeah, here's another one. That's a great shot of the girl doing her homework. Wow. Yeah, you don't want the distraction of the color. The color can cause people to look around. This forces people to look in her eyes and confront the reality of her situation. Okay, so here you can challenge yourself. These are obviously not due. We won't be shooting together for these, but you can challenge yourself. And well, that's interesting. It's supposed to be lab 10. These are interesting. These are montages done photos. Surrealism. We looked at this. There's another one really cool. She's sowing the fields. I just got it by saying it out loud. I just always thought it was cool because of the color, but now I realize it's sowing the fields. SEW instead of SOW. Another surrealistic shot with a mirror. And you do this the same way. You take a background shot and then you set all this up. She's got a fan blowing her hair around. Someone's holding this, or it's on a stand, and then you just mask it out in Photoshop, and that's how you get it floating like that. Okay, let me know if you have any questions, and we will stop this here.